Skillshare! You wanna go? You wanna fight? No. Okay, June, go. I'm not talking to you. Skillshare! You wanna go? You wanna touch tips? Huh? I'm done sponsoring Skillshare. I'm not gonna mention Skillshare ever again in one of my... I mean, this is my last episode, but I'll never mention them again. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of money through Skillshare because of all the people clicking the links, but I'm losing subs. They're going over to Skillshare, and they're not listening to me anymore. I'm sending too many people over to Skillshare. Nobody's staying here to listen to me. All of the people that would subscribe to me have just gone over to Skillshare, and now they're just... I feel like there's a part of me that I can't help but feel like I've destroyed my own channel. I thought we were cool, Skillshare. I thought we were cool. Don't roll the music just yet. Gay people, straight people, black people, white people, Asians. We have a gift, a tool that when used smartly, you can use to manipulate people that you hate, or manipulate people that hate you. And you have the power to change the world. Roll the intro. Story. What is it? How did it happen? Growing up as a little baby toddler, I thought story was all about, you know, the cool things, the flashy things, cool animation, fighting, this and that. And it can be. It really can be. It can be specifically used purely for entertainment. There doesn't always need to be, a deep hidden message behind it. But throughout history, it has proven to literally change the world that we're living in. It can change laws. That's how powerful a story is. Step one. I'm going to be talking about about originality in storytelling. Some people don't feel like their stories are original, which they're not, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then boom, step two, we're going to be talking about how you manipulate your audience, okay? Come on, let's go. Come on. Also, I want to say, I know it's ironic that I'm talking about storytelling and the impact of storytelling whenever this piece that I'm working on right now, it has absolutely no subtext to it. But that's also a good point, is that you don't always need a story to tell, a crazy underlying message. So this piece was just for fun. I'm just gonna let it play. Okay. Originality. You don't feel like you can create your own original stories and messages anymore. And I felt the same way for the longest time. Okay, you need to understand one thing first off, is that there are no more original stories. Pretty much every relevant story that can be told has already been told throughout history. You think you thought of something original, it's probably not. Which, within those boundaries, now it's very easy to create a story. Okay, you just gotta switch your little brain. Okay, so here's the way around that. Okay, and listen to this. It's not what you say, but how you say it. I'll say that again. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it. That's not saying what you're saying isn't important, but what's gonna catch people, it's gonna catch their attentions, is not what you're saying, it's how you say it. Okay, and that works for relationships in life. That works for everything. For jobs. If I have a loved one that's doing something that is upsetting me, I can go about it to one of two ways. One is very angry and saying, don't do that, don't do that. Or two is saying, I like it when you do this other thing. Okay, you're still saying in a way to not do that thing. You're just making it into a positive, So a lot of your stories aren't really original anymore. Stories are basically being retold at this point, and you can see it all over the place. You have the situation with the Native Americans that's basically being retold through Avatar, the Blue People Avatar. Okay, that's just a simple example, but there are so many other stories like that, based on history, based on other stories. And so you could actually take the same story, and you can tell the same story, but from a different point of view, from a different perspective. Same story, different perspective. Okay? Keep that in mind. And there ain't no view that you know better than your own. Okay, I'm gonna read a text that I sent to a fellow artist. Oh. God dang it. My boy says it's... Can I put this inside? Mic pipe. Mic pipe. Mic pipe. Mic pipe. Yeah. Mic pipe. He says, quote, "It's honestly like ... why even try? LOL." Within the context of talking about art, we were talking about art. And I say, quote, Nah, brah. Other artists will always create amazing things, but they can never create a story from your point of view. Not a single person can say the same things the way that you would say them. You got everybody beat there. You've got a freaking gift to make people empathize with you without them even knowing. Again, you don't have to have a deep message for every single story that you want to tell, okay? But if you want a deeper impact, if you want to have that connection with your audience, you gotta have that empathy. Okay, I assume you're a bunch of little babies. So with that in mind, you're gonna have a problem. The I have no story to tell problem, okay? What that means is, and I'm not gonna say it's because you're too young, it just means that you haven't gone through anything to have a story to tell, or you haven't had the interest to dive deeper into the type of stories that you wanna tell. So that's like hardships and all this type of stuff. Your stories don't need to be on hardships, but those are definitely the most relatable. If you've gone through hardships, if you've gone through things that you need people to see, to live your life and experience the things that you've experienced, then you need to get that out in a story. You need to reference that in story. Tell real stories. Please tell real stories. Don't just make up. By real stories, I mean real experiences that people can empathize with and understand. Not just some like fight scene that goes on for 50 minutes. You know, Avengers kind of comes to mind. Some of that, I don't relate to it. Okay, that's just good fun. Those movies, they can be just good fun. And there is some story in there, but it's not, it's some of those stories are a little bit too out there, a little bit not based in reality to where it really makes an impact. I'm leaving that right there. To go back over, if you don't have a story to tell, that doesn't mean you need to go out and create hardships for yourself. That's a good thing that you haven't gone through bad stuff, but you should at least want to research things that you can start to develop a story on. Real things. Things that people can empathize with. So when you got that story to tell, now we're going to step 5, baby. Manipulation. Propaganda. Donald Trump. D'Angelo Wallace. These are the words that I'm thinking of when I think of manipulation. Okay, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing. We just think of it as a negative thing. So how do you get people that you hate, that hate you, how do you get them to see your side? More than that, how do you get them to even listen in the first place? Humor. Boom. Humor binds us all. If you want somebody to see your side and you're fighting and you're yelling and you're throwing punches, you're literally pushing those people away. You're literally taking the side that you say, I want you to see things my way, but you're taking them and you're pushing them. You need to be doing the opposite. With story and with humor, you pull people closer to you, you hold them like a little baby, and you whisper in their little ear while you're making them laugh. They're down there chuckling. And you're just whispering. Humor is one of the most powerful manipulation tools there is, sitting just behind fear and anger. Those are extremely powerful. In the past, in our country right now, it gets people rallied up. People love to hate. People love to get hate on things that they fear. It's all tribalism at its core. So the interesting thing about humor is you distract with this hand and then you feed your true message with this hand. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's a great example. His comedy's gotten a lot more political, but it's still funny and it makes people laugh, so they feel good, they get that dopamine, and now they find themselves listening, actually listening to what he's saying. They may think, oh, okay, that's ridiculous, but then they'll go home and then they'll have that happy, funny feeling mixed with the message that he was trying to say. And it affects people. It's a long-term thing, but it affects people. Eventually, in my career, in my line of work, eventually I got to the point where I could draw. And I realized at this point, in 2019, everybody can draw. Everybody is an amazing artist. So the importance of storytelling, everybody can draw at this point. But if you don't have something interesting to say, nobody's going to listen to you. You can draw pretty things, you can draw pretty girls, you can draw pretty boys, you can draw really cool action scenes, and if you want to do that, if that's all you want to do, perfectly fine. So at this point you're talking about teaching humans something. And here's the thing about humans and teaching. Humans love to learn. We actually really love to learn. It feels good to have the upper hand, to be a little bit smarter than everybody else. All right, that feels good. But, and here's the weird thing about humans, is that we don't like to know that we're learning. If the information is coming from an outside source, something that you might not be, that you don't completely like or that you don't understand, humans do not like to know that they're learning. Teach people without them knowing. This is the hardest part in storytelling. To teach without teaching. To teach without preaching. If a story has too much, preachy in it, and they're taking the audience and they're holding them down and they're shouting like, we need rights, we need this, we need that. It's at that point, it's not being entertaining. These protests, these type of things, they have their place in society. It doesn't work in entertainment. And even then, in long term, those type of protests, they create a separation. They create an us and a them, and they just fight people against each other. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring them together. Whenever I say that, it sounds like hippie talk, like we need to bring people together. Those aren't my intentions behind that, saying we need to bring people together in love, man. It's more like that's more entertaining. That's gonna make more money. When you bring people together, it creates a community. They start to like a piece of entertainment, and then you start creating revenue from that. And on the side, I guess it's good for society and stuff, whatever though. Story is not about creating this crazy new idea that nobody's ever heard of. It's about empathy and holding a mirror up to society, up to your audience, and showing them themselves. Because that is the most entertaining thing for most people, is to look at themselves. Pie mic, pie mic, pie mic, pie mic, pie mic, pie mic, pie mic. Have you ever heard of SKILLSHARE?